So I'm doing for my SDG 4. I'm doing decent work in economic growth in Japan. So mostly I'm focusing on GDP, and because I feel like it's one of the easiest way to like show economic growth, and I'm just using it for the overall presentation because there's many ways you could go about it. So first, I want to start with like the overall scope of the world for their GDP. So, first of all, GDP of a country is a economic key figure. It represents the market value of goods and services produced in a country within 1 year. This map here indicates the annual growth of GDP per capita. In 2020, the United States, which is in a peach color, had an annual growth of negative 4.33% per capita. In 2020, Japan had an annual growth rate of negative 4.26% per capita. And in 2020, the world had an average annual growth rate per gross domestic product rate of negative 4.29% per capita. And this next slide is just another chart of basically the past map. It's just in a chart form, which one thing I found really interesting was over here in about 2008 to 2009, during the 2008 financial crisis, which was very prevalent in the United States, it seemed that Japan, as well as the whole entire world, was also affected by it, which I also think kind of shows how the United States has such a large effect on just the overall world economy. So, economic growth in the United States. So, the statistics show that the gross domestic product per capita in the United States from 1987 to 2021, and it also projects all the way to 2027. In 2021, the gross domestic product per capita in the United States amounted to around 69,000 US dollars. The United States is one of the countries with the largest GDP per capita worldwide. Gross domestic product per capita is annual GDP divided by the average population from the same year, which allows for the GDP calculation per inhabitant of a country. Thus, a country with a high GDP like the United States can still have a low GDP per capita. If compared to other countries, the United States does not even rank in the top 10 on this list. Economic growth in Japan. Japan is the world's second largest developed economy and is a member of the Group of Eight, also known as G8, which is comprised of 8 leading industrialized countries. Due to a weak financial sector, overregulation, and lack of demand, Japan suffered from the early 1990s until 2000, a time referred as the lost decade. Japan's economy is still slowly recovering from the country's asset price bubble collapse. However, it continues to struggle to retain economic milestones that were achieved in the 1980s. Japan's response to this crash was stimulated the economy, which in return resulted in the extension amount of debt that further increased into the 21st century, most notably after the 2008 financial crisis. Despite maintaining a surprisingly low unemployment rate, demand within the country remains inadequate, primarily because Japanese residents spend a rather small fraction of the money they earn from the workplace. Lower demand often has a direct effect on production, with companies seeing not enough profits to continue production at such a high rate. Based on the Consumer Confidence Index, Japanese households found that their quality of life, income growth, and employment, propensity to durable goods with low satisfactory standards, perhaps due to these households still experiencing the effects of the 1990s bubble crash. In 2021, the estimated gross domestic product per capita in Japan was around thousand US dollars, which is much lower, but they also have a much lower population, so that comes into effect. Here is my XMind map. So I decided to focus on big data in the Japanese economy. I found that big data can help produce more goods and services. 2 examples I found in my research was mass customized shoes and then high-tech home technology, which is like Nest Home thermometers, Ring doorbells, anything that is a modernized home technology system that helps to optimize the business process. It's found that companies that adopt data-driven decisions achieve to about 5 to 6% higher productivity and output growth than their peers. Even after controlling for other investments in the use of information technology, similar differences were found in asset utilization, return on equity, and market value. It also helps to target more marketing that injects customer feedback into the product design. So big data can help use customer reviews through all these different sites and help it to enhance the product design to kind of advance the product to make it fit more of the customer's needs. Faster innovation through a shorter research and development cycle. So big data helps to just make things shorter and more efficient over time. So that's it. Thank you.